Hello everybody and welcome to my channel History and Guys. Today I want to talk about a topic that comes up in the hobby now and then, and it's basically what a lot of people understand as the 3-foot rule. So basically it's saying that if the model looks fine at arm's length, it's fine for gaming, at least not for display. And it's kind of funny because Steve from OnPointXQ actually covered the topic recently when he was talking about his newest project, which was Epic Pike & Shot. But for me, the impulse to talk about it comes actually from a completely different source. The inspiration was a visit that I did recently to Madrid. It was a business trip, but we had the opportunity in the evening to go to the Prado Museum, and even had a very good guided tour there through some of the paintings. And that at one point really gave me the idea, well, that is something interesting. Even the old masters were sometimes not trying to paint everything to the most minute detail, but at some point they just let it be. And especially when you are like looking at the big pictures that are hanging in most of those art museums, because a lot of the old masters painted on very large canvases, you will realize that you are going to stand away from the picture, not like at arm's length, because then you can't even see everything. You are going to stand at like 3-4 meters away sometimes. And then only if you want to really see the artisanship of part of the painting, so to speak, so where you look at the brush strokes, then you go closer and maybe look at a distance at which the picture is not supposed to be looked at all. And now, today, I want to show you what I mean by that, and I want to also show you some other typical pitfalls that we can fall into when we are painting, when we are posting on social media, when we are photographing pictures of our miniatures. So let's start. And the picture I want to look at today is called Las Meninas. It's painted by Velázquez, who was at the end of the 16th, early 17th century, one of the most famous and influential painters, especially in Spain, where he was painter of the main painter at the court. And actually Velázquez pictured himself here on this picture, on this painting, here on the left side, the gentleman in the black robe with the red cross. He noted that he was at that point part of the nobility already, which was very unusual for a painter at that age, because painters were not considered artists, they were considered artisans, and artisans were not normally part of the nobility. But it's not the self-portrait of Velázquez that is part of this overall painting that I want to talk about. Today I want to talk about what is in the focus of the painting, and you will agree with me that the focus is on the child in the middle of the girl here. And if you look at it, is there anything, ask yourself, is there anything that you notice where you say this looks a little bit odd? At least when I was looking at it, I didn't. Until our guide actually pointed out some interesting aspect of this painting. And that is, let's zoom in and see the right hand of this girl. And it's odd when you look at it that this is the centerpiece of the whole painting. And then you realize that this hand is not a properly painted hand. It looks really weird. The fingers don't show the same level of detail that you see on the other hand. And of course the color is very striking, as in it doesn't match any skin color at all when you look at the girl, but also if you look at, let's say, other parts of this painting. The only person maybe who matches a little bit is this dwarf lady here, or dwarf, yeah, I think it's a lady actually. But here it's completely different story, of course, because it's even more in the shadows, and it's just more like part of the edge of the painting. So it's not really in focus where the light falls. And now you wonder why is Velázquez doing this? Honestly, I don't know. But the message for us as somebody who also paints, who maybe sometimes considers what we are doing as art, or at least as a kind of hobby that has artistic aspects to it. It's like this hand is not painted as perfectly as Velázquez was certainly able to do. When you look at the rest of the painting, I mean, it's magnificent. So this must be an intentional part of the painting. I don't think you could assume that a person who has been painting so many magnificent paintings and who painted this for the king and the queen, which are, by the way, depicted here in the mirror, looking at the whole scenery. So basically everybody here in the picture is looking at the king and the queen, who are basically where we are standing or looking at the picture. You would assume that he would give his utmost to not disappoint his king and his queen. So why did he do it? I don't know. But like I said, we see that even on the highest level of artistry, you see certain aspects of a painting that are a bit rougher, intentionally or not. And of course there are other aspects where the details are a little bit more sketchy, like let's look at the gentleman here in the background in the staircase. Of course it's just like human perception would be. It's out of focus, it's not super sharp, it's just kind of a sketch. A magnificent sketch for sure, but it's a sketch. So when you look at this picture, you realize not everything needs to be perfect. If not everything needs to be perfect for Velázquez, and certainly it doesn't need to be perfect for us. Now let's look at the next aspect that I want to talk about today, and that is miniature photography. When you take a picture of one of your miniatures, what you normally do is you put it into the computer, and then you look in a program. Can be something like this freeware, or it can be something more sophisticated. In my case, it's a program that's called Capture One, that is used to basically work on the photographs that you're taking with the camera normally. And here I have a picture taken of two urban maps from Velázquez. And you can't see it right now, obviously, because I'm recording the screen rather than myself. But the picture of these two urban maps, each of these urban maps is probably 4 or 5 times as big as it is in reality. So it's like looking with a very strong magnification glass at the miniature, which is actually quite similar to how I paint my miniatures up, but I will get to that later. And you see a lot of flaws here in the pictures that you might see a hint of when you're looking at it from a closer distance, from like 20-30 centimeters away from your face, and you're holding it up to your eyes. But obviously they are much more exaggerated here in these shots. I will give you one simple example. If you look at the white urban map here, you will notice a couple of flaws. First of all, you will see that the cockpit color, the green paint here, has actually spilled a little bit on the white here. Now you could say this is artistic license because it's basically a reflection of the light from the cockpit shimmering on the metal. But honestly, that was not intended like that. It's just something where I actually at some point decided it's not worth cleaning up, because if you're looking at it from further away, you're not noticing it. Another example would be, if you look at the gun here, you realize that there is some bluish paint. It's actually Vallejo gunmetal blue, if I recall correctly. And I just wanted to give the whole gun a little bit less a uniform colored look, so I wanted to have some aspects that looks like the metal got hot, and you know, when metal gets hot it takes certain other colorations, like either bluish or alternatively it goes into some kind of red spectrum sometimes as well. And if you look at this magnification, it obviously looks horrific. But that's not how we perceive the miniature when we're gaming. When we're gaming, they are at arm's length or further away. And a lot of things that might disturb us when we are looking very intentionally at an army or at a model is not really mattering that much when you're looking like a whole group of units, and we know that the epic scripts are a very good example. You're not looking at the individual miniature, you're just looking at the row of pikes or the row of musketeers or whatsoever. So that's the second point I want to make with this video. Don't be too strict with yourself when you're seeing pictures of your miniatures on your computer on a large screen with a big magnification. Everything gets exaggerated, and only the very best studio painters are probably able to paint flawless in a way that even at this magnification you won't see any smaller mistakes. And in the end, it's always a trade-off of how much time do you want to spend on the miniature or not. So, having said that, what's the lesson of it? Well, the lesson of it is very simple. Consider the 3-foot rule really as a good guideline to determine whether your miniature is finished or not. Sometimes it pays off to put a little bit more effort into the miniature. Sometimes you just say, I don't care, it's just one of a pipe block of 50 miniatures, and I will just stick it in the middle of it and nobody will care. And that is something that you need to really consider as well when you're using something like this. Like this is a magnifying glass, obviously, like I said before, that I use for painting. And I find it very nice actually for painting because it gives me more control. It is much more, it helps my eyes to stay relaxed and not to cramp up after a long painting session. And I feel more secure as well when I know where to put my brush strokes. But obviously when you take the glasses and you paint with the glasses, you will see more flaws as well in your miniature. And again, it's a matter of just putting the glasses up at a certain point and say, how does it look? And I'm holding it like this. It's still fine, or is it really looking very ugly and I need to work a little bit more on it? I hope you enjoyed this video. If you have any opinion about the topic that I have raised here, please consider commenting or giving feedback on the video. And I will promise I will be back probably next week with another hobby update, like my previous one. Until then, have a good time, enjoy your hobby, and don't get too stressed out about certain smaller flaws in your painting or your modeling. In the end, it's just a hobby, and it should be enjoyable, not with stress. Goodbye.